Welcome to Per Her Perspective. My name is Marla Noel, and today I am interviewing Rose Cholewinski. Rose is a respected businesswoman, community leader, and advocate whose life and career have been dedicated to helping others thrive. As the longtime owner of SwimAmerica Davis, Rose has spent more than 3 decades teaching life-saving water safety skills, fostering confidence in swimmers of all ages, and creating a lasting impact through the Davis community and beyond. Her leadership and service have earned numerous honors, including the Guiding Light Award and the Humanitarian Award from the United States Swim School Association, recognizing her exceptional mentorship, generosity, and commitment to serving others. She was also named the Business of the Year in Davis, California, and was honored with Davis Citizen of the Year for her extraordinary contributions to the community and her unwavering dedication to volunteerism and civic engagement. Those who know Rose often speak of her remarkable generosity, boundless energy, and ability to bring people together. Welcome, Rose.
Thank you. Thank you. That was so nice. I kind of have some tears. That was nice. Thank you.
It is so great to finally meet you because your WPO chair was talking about how amazing you are.
Aw.
Amelia was definitely talking about you are quite an amazing person. And I want to ask a question before I get into the other questions. Volunteerism is in your heart. Did you grow up like that? Because I know my parents were always, we're going to volunteer for this and we're going to do that for the community. Was that part of how you grew up?
Not so much. My mom and dad were very family oriented, and we had an extended family, the daughter of an immigrant. And so all of our cousins and everyone lived sort of in the same area. So when I think about doing good for other people, they did good for each other, but not beyond that community. And it wasn't until I went to high school that I really got involved in service and just loved it ever since.
Yeah. Wow. So what motivated you to start your business?
Ooh, good question. So initially, my motivation to start the business was out of sheer necessity. I was a single mom. My position at UC Davis had just ended. I started a small commercial cleaning business that was doing really well. I wanted to stay in the area, but my true love, my passion was swimming and teaching swimming lessons. And so I started at an athletic club renting water for about 13 years and finally decided I wanted to do something bigger than that and impact more people than just during the summer months. And so I started looking into it. I joined the United States Swim School Association in 2004. And with a very good friend of mine, we picked the brains of the giants. We talked to a lot of people about what it takes to start a business, how to lease. Should we lease or own? What does an HVAC system look like? What is HR? What's a profit and loss statement? Just lots and lots of questions. And then again, as a single parent, I needed to figure out how I was going to do this on my own. And after 13 years of leasing water, I decided to open up my own school. And so I leveraged, I'm going to get a little teary. I leveraged my daughter's education, every stitch of savings I had, and took a really calculated risk to lease the current space. And people don't want to lease when you're going to build or dig a big hole in the ground. And so again, I had to use all the things that I built up to that moment to leverage my good credit rating. Just knowing that it was a calculated risk. I had 13 years of history of doing a really good job with the business. So my motivation was, one, I had no choice. I was a single parent and I wanted to provide for my daughter. The other thing is I found a passion, Marla, that I loved, and I was able to make a living doing what I love to do, and then started just bringing more and more people into that circle and grew the business.
You said a couple of things that I think are brilliant that a lot of business owners do not do. And you did a lot of research up front before you got started into some serious money, which good for you. And then a lot of women business owners don't borrow,
Mhm.
don't use credit. And that was very brave of you. I commend you for doing that because it just doesn't happen probably often enough where we
Mhm.
could be bigger and better. We don't want to take that risk.
Again, the risk was calculated. I had done this job for 13 years. I was paying a percentage of my revenue to the athletic club that I worked in. And to expand that, I knew that if my numbers were right, I could do this. And failure was not an option. Again, leveraging everything I had, but also knowing the business. And like you said, doing all the research.
Yeah, yeah, you have to know your numbers, and it sounds like you did some forecasting and you knew what that you could do it. So, I mean, that's fantastic. You mentioned that you grew up in an immigrant community. Tell me a little bit about that. What was your childhood like?
So my dad was from Italy, and we secretly think that my mom and dad it was an arranged marriage, but they're both gone now, so I can't ask them. But he came over from Italy, met my mom. They were married, and they had two children, they had twins, myself and my sister.
Oh, you're a
And
twin.
I'm a twin.
Ah,
Very different. We're very different. But we had a really great upbringing, very strict. My dad taught me all about work ethic. He worked very, very hard. My mom was the jovial, fun one. And so she taught me the fun part of life too. And I appreciate both sides of my parenting so much because I do feel like I'm a very generous and also a curious leader. And that came from watching both my mom and dad. We grew up with all of our cousins around us. We spent most of our time at grandma's house. And he was a proud American. He came over here and was living the American dream. And so his work ethic was definitely something that I latched onto. And there's a lot of Luigi-isms, I'll call them, where he taught me a lot of life lessons throughout my young childhood and up to adult.
oh. So what caused the fire in your belly to do what you're doing? Is there something other than just desperation? I've got to earn a living because not everybody can be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I think the fire had again started in high school. I got very involved very fast and was in student council and I was on swim team and I felt like I always surrounded myself with really good people. And the fire certainly was fueled by my passion to teach someone a skill that can literally save their life. And I love my job. Every time I come to work, I love my job. I love what we do. I love the culture we built. I love the staff. I don't look at it as a transaction. I feel like this is more of a lifestyle. And I tell my team a lot of times, my leadership team, that we spend more time sometimes with each other than we do with our families. So,
Oh, yeah.
so we have to have a fire, right, Marla? We have to
I
have a fire to keep
Yeah.
doing it, to get up every day, to get up during COVID and really try. There's got to be fire for sure.
Something I think is that's really important, and I know that there have been a number of people who have lost loved ones from drowning. Do you have any stats on that?
For us, our age group that we focus on is 2 months to 8 years, and we know that the number one cause of death, of children under 5 is drowning. And so those are the stats. And so every time was just at a conference called the AOAP, it's the Association of Aquatic Professionals, and there was a stage full of families who had lost a loved one in a drowning. And together they put together, I have it right here, actually. Um, they put together this, this grouping of stories of different drownings and how it happened. And so my why every time I come to work, and it's here with me all the time, is to not add to that stack, that
So
deck.
you are literally saving future lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow.
and trust me, I would love to say, take swim lessons. It's the only thing that will save you. But there are layers, right? It's not just swim lessons. It's also constant and vigilant supervision, knowing CPR, making sure that there are barriers. There's a lot of layers. Mine is learning to swim, and then we can sprinkle in with our families different layers that will help them become safer in and around water.
So you teach those other things as well.
Absolutely.
Mm,
Yeah.
wow.
Bulletin boards. We have head coach announcements. We just came off of Water Safety Month, where it was a month long of just tips and tricks to really become and stay aware, vigilant around a body of water.
Yeah. Wow. Did you have a mentor that helped you as you were growing your business?
I have been so blessed with so many different mentors. And again, I'm the queen of curiosity. I like to ask a lot of questions. And so I remember going to our first association. My friend Mary and I went together, and I remember she and I had a pact that we were going to be in and around all the giants. We wanted to be in on the conversation. We got invited to dinners. We were able to talk to people about how they grew their business, why they grew their business, what it takes. And so I feel like, again, along the way, I've had so many different mentors that both have swim schools, big and small, and also business mentors. I feel like my husband has been a huge part of being a mentor for me. We started dating when I was building the swim school.
Wow.
And yes, and I remember him. I didn't like numbers, Marla. I'm good at numbers now, but at the time, that was just give me a crying child and I can teach him to swim, right? But he was very, very adamant about me learning my numbers, and he said, "Rose, if somebody
I
were going to,"
like your husband
I
already.
I know, he's just a gem, and he said, "Rose, if you have to look at this as if somebody were going to give you $1 million, you would learn how to figure out your numbers." And I just thought, okay, I guess this is important, because I feel like I surround myself with people who are better than me and who could do things better than me. But he was really adamant about, you need to know your numbers. And so I am good at my numbers now. I know how to increase a price. I know the whys. I know the financial sheet, all of that. That's so important in a financially strong business. So
Since
getting
I
back to the mentors, he was one. My best friend, Mary. I have an amazing group of people formed, sort of the girls swim group. And it's a group of 8 of us. And we have been meeting probably for the last 8 years. Once a year, we get together and we go and visit swim schools, and we share ideas and thoughts, and we go back to our own swim schools and just make them stronger. So those people are definitely mentors for me. Yeah, certainly we can't do it alone.
No, we can't. And one thing that you said that again, not enough people do is to ask for people to help you, because it really is an honor for somebody to say, "Oh, I'm looking for and trying to understand this business. Would you mind helping me?" So that's brilliant. You're smart.
Thank you.
I can
I
tell.
have to live up to what Amelia said about me. So
Okay, so you have a twin sister. Are you close? Do you live close by? How does she do something completely different, or what's that like? Cuz I've always been kind of envious of those people with twins.
so I have a twin sister, and we couldn't be more different than we currently are. We do what we can to stay in touch. I love her. Her heart is as big as this world. We talk and we have a sisterly relationship.
Nice. What are one or two things that you can say made a positive impact on the growth of your business?
I would say the first one would be surrounding myself with people who had the same drive to do what I was doing. That's the first thing. Then the second thing, and I didn't discover this until about 2020, right around COVID, I discovered EOS, which is the Entrepreneur Operating System. I feel so blessed to have been introduced to EOS by my good friend and our implementer, Mary Riley McGee. And it just is, it has helped us get everyone rowing in the same direction. And you were talking about the book that you wrote about drama. And I feel like this helps us identify the right person in the right seat going in the same direction that we're in. We have a mission statement, we have a purpose, we have goals, we lead really good, productive meetings through EOS. And I would say those two things, just getting the right people around you and that operating system is really great. And I know a lot of people in WPO talk about us. And so it's just simple. It's clear. It makes everything so simple.
It kind of makes it a lot easier to run a business. I know I used a lot of the same processes before that book was written, so it's nothing new. But Gino Wickman did a really good job of putting everything together in the book Traction. One of the things I suggest is having your employees read Get a Grip because it's that
Yes.
story version of
People.
Traction. I'm a huge proponent of that because it does simplify things and align your team with what you want to accomplish, right? It's
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Can't say enough. And I know a lot of times people are like, they think about the cost. And I will say I would do it again and again in a heartbeat. It was what kept us together during COVID, really trying to keep clear about where we were going. And when we did finally open up, we hit the ground running
nice.
and we opened it up with a lot of traction.
There you go, Gino. Give you a shout out. So is there anything you wish you'd done sooner?
The only thing I wish I would have done sooner is I wish I would have been in the position, and I wasn't. I wish I were in the position to buy my building instead of lease it. So currently we're in a lease. We've been leasing for 18 years. I multiply 18 years times the amount I pay monthly, and it's astronomical. But that's what I could afford at the time. And so if I could do it over again, I might have asked more people about different strategies to own the building.
Yeah. Yeah. I do try to convince some of my clients if they can buy a building to do that because that supplements that, well, how much are you going to have for retirement?
Right.
And that really helps that question get answered. Um so do you have any disciplines besides traction? Traction has an awful lot of disciplines in it, but do you have anything else that you would share regarding good business practices, good management?
I think the biggest thing is, again, knowing your numbers, having a scorecard so that we review that every single week. If something is getting off course, we can get back on course with some intentionality and just reviewing that. The other discipline I feel like is sort of an unwritten one is I make it a habit to really get to know my staff beyond what they do here. And again, I don't see them as a transaction that they're just going to work here for a while. I mean, some of them have been working here 10 years. We have been with each other in our ups and downs. So I think that when people can understand each other from a personal point of view, it is easier to understand what might be happening during the workday. And that's not an excuse. They still got to get the work done, right? They still have to come to work. But we have a heart, right? We lead with our heart, and the discipline, I would say, besides knowing our numbers, knowing our focus, knowing where we're going, know what our role is, our why, is to really just sprinkle love on the people who are your secret sauce.
Yeah. Yeah. Most businesses, it is about the people. And when they know you care about them, they care about you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, work life balance is such a challenge for all of us, I think. And I know you mentioned your husband and you have children.
I have a daughter, a 34-year-old beautiful daughter.
Okay.
Yes. And so work life balance, when I first started the business, Marla, I worked a lot. And sometimes I think, oh, did I work too much? I was a single parent. How much time was being taken away from my daughter, Kristen? And I feel like I was very intentional when I was away to surround her with people I knew had the same values that I had. And for her to see mom working hard, that's who she is now. Would I
Yeah.
have liked her to come into my business? Absolutely. But she's in my husband's business and
Oh,
she is an equestrian. And so her love and dedication, I believe, from a hardworking mom.
yeah. We are an example to the children. So good. Do you have any
But
regrets?
I don't think it was a regret at all. I would love to have her right here and see, but I think that she learned a lot from my hard work, where it got me, where it's getting me. And again, that stems from me watching my father as a very, very hard worker. He was a blue collar worker. He did his job. He came home. He took care of his family. He took care of the house. He taught us things. And that just carried on. And I hope that Kristen will carry it on to her family and her friends and any business or volunteer position she gets. I hope she carries that through.
Speaking of volunteering, you do so much for the community there in Davis. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Davis is a small community. It's about 65,000 people. And I don't know of a successful business in Davis who doesn't get involved in their community. And so I am involved. I'm involved in some nonprofits like Thriving Pink, who supports women going through breast cancer. And I'm in the Rotary group. And through Rotary, we help some of our neighboring communities do swim lessons. And I'm very involved in our Davis Aquatic Masters to try to get adults to learn to swim. And I just feel like it fuels me to keep going. There's a purpose in all of it. And again, bringing back the drama, I think the nice thing about volunteering is we don't have to stay in drama, right? We can get involved in these organizations that really have a mission and a purpose and an impact in the community. So I love volunteering. I can't imagine looking at a poster of an event that's going on without the Swim America logo on it.
That's fantastic. It's funny, I've been involved in Rotary in the past, and what a great group of people. People that want to do things for other people and they don't need a pat on the back or a thank you. They just know it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Service above self, right? That's
Service
the motto.
above self.
Service
That is
above
the
self.
Rotary motto. Thank you. What other advice would you like to offer a business owner or somebody who's leading a large department in a corporation? Is there anything else?
Think so. I think when you are in a position and you see the purpose or you know your why, that will help fuel your energy to keep moving forward and to make a difference in your work community. Ask questions, be curious, be generous. I'll give you an example. I remember being in a meeting at the Chamber of Commerce, and I was a new business, right? I was only operating 4 months out of the year. And I sat through this, and there was an organization in town that was looking for donations. And they had listed a group of, sizable donations that they were looking for. And I remember raising my hand and I said, I sure don't have that type of money yet, but I would like to contribute. Are there office supplies? Are there other things that are important for your business that I can contribute? And I remember the organization contacting me afterwards and saying, what a generous thing to do. We need paper clips. We need a ream of paper. We need some Sharpie markers. There was one other thing, binders. And I thought, I can do that.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so anytime I'm working with an organization that's looking for donations from businesses, let's create a space for them. It's not always the $50,000 donation. Sometimes it's 200.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's a box of paper paper clips, but how can we support them
Yeah.
and applaud their efforts at an early time of their formation of their business?
Yeah. I have been involved in the Boys and Girls Club of Central Orange Coast for a long time. And it is those people that can contribute 10, 20, $50 that may eventually be able to contribute a lot more. But all those little donations add up to a lot. So it
And
means
it's not
something.
just the financial part,
Yeah.
it's the feeling we get,
Yeah.
to be able to contribute, to generously with our heart contribute to
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And yeah, 30 years ago, it was a box of paper clips. Now it's a more generous, substantial donation.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So, what would your employees say about you?
What would they say about me?
They're
I think
talking about Rose at the grocery store. Rose
I
isn't there.
yeah,
What would
I
they say?
think they would say that I'm a generous leader. I'm full of heart. And my passion is demonstrated every day. They they kind of Sally feels they like me. They really like me. But it's not they like me. It's they like what we have created here in this culture of purpose. And so I just feel like those people who didn't fit self-selected out. That's a generous thing to do, is to let them go and find something that really truly talks to them so that they know every night, every morning when they get up, what is your why? So I think that they would say I'm kind of funny, sometimes very silly, generous. Let's see, smart.
So,
Yeah.
so I can tell you're smart. You've done so many right things. One thing that you mentioned, and I know this is talked about in the book Traction, is your why. How do you communicate your why to your employees or your customers?
Our why is demonstrated every day. When we have children, a fearful child coming in to take a swimming lesson, and the love that is poured onto them by our team members, and the care and the kid gloves, just to usher them into something that they're scared about, right? Water is, don't go near water and don't go with a stranger. So they come here and we have to break those barriers. We're not strangers. Your mom is here, your dad is here. We're going to get into the water. We're going to be slow with the process. We're going to honor your fears, acknowledge them, and go slowly. And I feel like we talk about water safety all the time. Again, we're out in the community promoting water safety. We do presentations at different organizations and mommy groups. And during Water Safety Month, it's a big push. But every single day, we're walking the walk and talking the talk. And when somebody advances to another level in their swim class, it's a big deal because you can't reward just trying in swimming. It does a disservice to them and it's dangerous, right? Oh,
Yeah.
Marla, you were trying so hard to float on your back. We're going to let you move to the next level because you tried so hard. Well, that's dangerous, right? So when Marla gets that back float, the hair on our arms stand up because we're so excited that they honored the process. Swimming takes time. It's not an event. It takes
Yeah.
time. And so we are walking the walk and talking the talk. We have a 7,000 square foot facility with an indoor warm water pool. It is a business, and it is a purpose driven business. And so I think that if you were to walk in here, you would know what we're doing and why we're doing it.
So it's something you can feel.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we created the space for people to feel like that.
Yeah. Have you ever had to save anybody who was drowning?
Have. I'll tell you two stories. One story did not end well. And it was very sad. We had a little girl who got out of our swim lessons and was given to a supervisor who allowed that person to get back into the water. And she drifted to an area that she couldn't stand. And so one of the lane swimmers picked her up and put her on the side of the pool, and she was fine. Well, this little girl got back in for the second time, and she was not saved at that point, and she was pulled out. And I remember running over there. There was an emergency doctor, and we both performed CPR, and she was later pronounced dead. And it was hard.
That's not something you will ever forget.
Yeah. So
Well,
there's a why, right? Supervision. We were teaching her the skill that could save her life, but the layer that was missing was vigilant supervision. And the person who should have been watching her wasn't. And so, you know,
and it happens so fast.
it happens really fast. A lot of times we think about those TV commercials or TV scenes where there's somebody struggling with their head above the water saying, help, help, help. Drowning is silent. It happens underwater. The struggle, the suffocation, it happens under the water. So that's why, we need to be super vigilant when we're watching children in and around the water. The second incident was I was swimming, master swimming. All of a sudden, I heard some commotion on the deck, and I thought, gosh, that seems weird. So I popped my head up, and I saw the coach pulling this man out of the water and a few people kind of surrounding him. And I got out of the water, and at that point, the AED had been brought over. The bag valve mask was brought over. The CPR was being performed, but I stepped in because the respirations weren't being done correctly. So I just said, let me do this. And so he stepped out of the way and continued. And then we hit the AED. And I remember my friend Mary, a different Mary, but she went over and her hand was shaking. And I said, it's telling you to push it. Push the button. So she pushed it. It delivered a shock, continued CPR. The emergency response team came, and they came and they're like, you're doing great. Keep going. And I just thought,
That's
it's
exhausting.
exhausting. Yeah. But fast forward, he did fine. He did fine.
Gosh.
He fully recovered. This was in August. And in December, I saw him at our holiday party. And I went up to him and I said, the last time I saw you, you were dead. And he was like, thank you so much. And two things happened that day. One, I wasn't going to go swim. And for whatever reason, the pool was calling me and I went to swim masters that morning. The other thing was he could have been in his office at his home or his office at the university alone. And had that happened when he was alone, the outcome would have been different. So yes, two situations. And I hope that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly. It's so important, the CPR. And I cannot tell you how many CPR classes I have taken, many. And I'm still hoping nobody has to rely on me to save their lives.
That's such a good point because we need to be prepared. We take those classes so that what if?
Yeah.
And
And
so,
hope we don't need them.
exactly. But we stay up to date with that certification. So if you can help.
Yeah. That's so important. If you can save a life. Um, so on to business. Do you have
Okay.
any other business books besides Traction or any other books?
Oh
That
my
does
gosh.
not have to be business. I
Yeah.
know this is a great book above my head.
Okay. I'm going to put that on my list.
Drama-free management, but
Yeah.
any other books that you enjoy?
So, probably the first book I was introduced to as a business owner was The E-Myth. So that's the first one. Patrick Lencioni's Five Dysfunctions of a Team. Such a great book to read with a leadership team to really
Yeah.
understand, because I was a leader. I used to think, oh, everybody agrees with me. Oh, good. I must be leading well. And now it's like, come on, you guys. What are our blind spots? Give it to me. Like, we can only grow if somebody has the courage to point out our blind spots. So
Yeah.
what are those? Let's talk about
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah,
five
that's
dysfunctions of the
that's
team is,
good. And as a leader to listen to what somebody's saying about those blind spots, because I remember how hard that felt to learn that I'm not doing everything quite right. But if you don't know, you can't fix it.
and how do you create, again, this part of this book is, how do you create a culture of trust so that they feel safe if they have something to say? And so I think, again, that's a great book. Ownership Thinking, I can't at this very moment think about who the author is of that book, but it really talks about how your employees can start thinking about ownership thinking. And I remember teaching a group of staff members about our financial statements and using pennies to identify the revenue, and then them having to give me pennies as I went through all the expenses
That's brilliant.
and what they were finished with, how
Yeah.
many cents they
Yeah.
were finished with.
They
And
have
now
to
we're
dig
going to
anything out of their pocket in a bad year.
no, no, yeah, no. I think it's a good visual for them to understand how to run a financially strong business and what to do with that small amount, at the end of the day. Where do
Yeah.
we put it? How do
Yeah.
we use it? What's responsible? How can we give back to our community, our environment? And then the other thing is Atomic Habits. I think that every college student, before they end their college career, should read Atomic Habits.
Mhm.
Good
And
to
it's a
Great.
actually, that's one of my favorite listens because I like
Um,
Audible, and
yeah,
that fellow tells the first story so well.
yeah. And Good to Great, and of course Traction is, and Get a Grip is a great fable for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Do you have any podcasts that you listen to?
I'm going to start listening to this one. There's so
You.
many. Simon Sinek is a favorite. I get sent a lot of different podcasts and I love to listen to them. I'm more of a listen to a book or read a book, or listen to some music. So I'm not a huge podcast person. And I know anytime one is referred to me, I love it. So
Good. I'm in the car a lot, so it's my favorite thing to do when I'm driving somewhere. So it sounds like you study business quite a bit. Harvard Business School has a podcast that is case studies and is really
Mm.
interesting, the case studies that they come up with. So, yeah, there's so many good podcasts out
There
there.
are. And I love getting referrals from friends. Those are the best ones. Hey, Rose, and because I'm in so many different book groups and friend groups, I embrace all of the recommendations. And so I love podcasts. I love that they're short too. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
exactly. Yeah. I want to be on DOAC, the Diary of a CEO. I want to be on
Uh,
that podcast. Someday,
wow.
Stephen, listen to my podcast and put me on your podcast.
All right, there we go. That's a
It's
good,
sending that out to the
good goal.
universe.
Manifest that.
Mm.
That's right.
So you've been a WPO member for how long?
So I've only been a WPO member for about 2 years. I was
Okay.
in Vistage before that.
Mhm.
I think for me, I, of course, met so many incredible people in Vistage. And right around COVID is when I decided to stop out. And then Amelia was my chair in Vistage. And then she became a WPO chair. And she said, Rose, would you be interested? And what I've really enjoyed about WPO is a female's perspective and the incredible leadership of businesses that these women come with. And I cannot say enough, at first I was like, oh, I'm going to join this other group. And it has just been incredible. Amelia's a really great chair, and she offers a lot of sort of flexibility and direction. And then we all go to happy hour afterwards. And we call it the meeting after the meeting. And
Yeah.
so we get into some other issues at dinner, but just in a room with a group of women who are at different points in their business careers, but super smart, passionate, driven people. I don't know how people, both men and women, get through their business career without being part of an advisory group, a peer advisory group, because I can be part of my association and we talk the same talk, right? But I get into WPO and there's a different perspective and value that a lot.
Yeah. I agree. I'm an avid peer group supporter. I'm also chairing a SCORE CEO group. I'm doing
Wow.
it for free.
Okay.
You'd have to pay a little bit to be a member, but I agree with you. You can't know everything.
Right.
As a business owner, you've got to have outside input. And, you can hire a business coach, but it's still, I think there's still a lot of value in having other smart people and talking through an issue. Speaking of issues, have you done much of the peer review, and what do you think about that, the issue processing?
I like the issue processing. I feel like our group has become more cohesive, and so it flows easily. I think when we first started, it was a little bit clunky, but then when we got to know each other, isn't that about business? When a new group of people
Yeah.
come together, it's clunky, right?
Mhm.
And then you recognize the similarities and the growth opportunities and learning opportunities within that group. So you become a little bit more comfortable and you are more willing to be vulnerable and put an issue on the list and say, and be vocal about, I need this issue to process today.
Yeah.
I need your help.
Yeah. In fact, I travel with a few of my former chapter, WPO chapter. We just came back from India. A couple of the people that were in the other chapter that I was in before I started my own chapter. You have lifelong relationships with these peer groups.
And I think, back to a question you had earlier about sort of advice or whatever, is to always keep growing and to keep asking questions and to never settle like, okay, good. I've got it all figured out now. I've got a great team. I've got, my vision. I've got my 3-year picture of my 10-year, there's things along the way that will help strengthen all of that. And I do find there are some business people out there that are like, yeah, I'm not going to go to a conference. I'm not going to be in a peer advisory group. I know this stuff,
Yeah. And
and
kind of sad.
it is sad. We have people in our association that have been coming for so long. And every time I bet at the end of that conference, we can ask them, what did you learn? It may not be from a session. It could be from a conversation that they had in the hallway. But they're seeking, they're still wanting to be great.
Mhm. So, what are your plans for the future?
Plans for the future. Well, I want to keep growing. I don't, every time I go to a friend's retirement party, I think I'm not sure I see that in my future. I love what I do. I think that my future will be more about creating opportunities for my current leadership staff to perhaps buy the business and exploring an employee owned trust to figure out if they could all be owners. I'm trying to figure out, do I open another site? I will continue always doing my volunteer work, and I love that. I will always be a swimmer, but the future is outlined, but it's blurry. I can go this way, I can go this way.
That's
It's not a great answer to your question, but
well, it's good to have some, well, what if this or what
yeah,
if
yeah.
that and figure it out. So what would you say drives you above everything else?
What drives me above everything else? What do you mean by above everything else?
Well, you've mentioned that you want to give back and you want to learn. Is there anything else that you would say, this keeps Rose going? This is what makes Rose get out of bed every morning and say, hello, sunshine.
I would say um, certainly making an impact in our community, our kids that come through our program, our families, our staff, our team is amazing. And what drives me, I have to say, is, this
Mm,
is my why.
yeah.
And so if that doesn't drive me, I'm not sure what will.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to convey that message to everyone who works on our team that this is the impact that we want to have and the legacy that I want to leave behind, that Rose made a difference. SwimAmerica made a difference. Her team was amazing. Her families appreciated what they did.
Yeah. Just curious, in your association, do you try to make swim lessons available in as many communities as possible?
We
Just curious.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, United States Swim School Association is association made up of lots of different swim schools across the country and globally. There is a new association called the International Swim School Association that helps associations get created in other countries that might not have the resources to develop an association and as a result teach swim lessons and water safety to some of the other areas in our world. And so we come together, we share business ideas for the United States Swim School Association. We share the importance of growth and staying on top of things like AI. How do we use AI in our business? What do you use? How are you using it? Certainly, we're not going to have AI take the place of a person in the water teaching,
Yeah.
but
You
our
will not,
process.
I don't
Yeah.
think.
No, our process and our registration systems and different things, we need to stay up on top of those things. But there's lots of opportunities to get the word out for learning to swim.
So if I'm a family and I don't have much money, is there a way that my child can have swim lessons even though I don't have much money?
That's a great question. I would say that everyone in our association has some affiliation with doing really good things in their community for people who cannot afford it. We want to provide access to swimming lessons, quality swimming lessons for people who are in need. And so there are some specific organizations like Hope Floats, there's Ripples of Impact, there's individual swim schools who take in applications to help get swim lessons to people who may not be able to afford it. I would say that every swim school that I know of, they're doing something to provide those lessons for children in need.
So, Rose, this has been a great conversation and you are a great interviewee. Is there some question that I have not asked you?
So I talked about my family. I talked about my incredible business, my future, my books, what makes me tick. I think it's good.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Rose, for being here on Per Her Perspective. And this is Marla Noel. I look forward to seeing you in future episodes. So please follow and subscribe and like. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you very much, Rose.
My pleasure. Thank you.